to go around and we're going to introduce ourselves first. So I'm Sarah Rintamaki. I'm the founder of Connecting for Kids. 8 years ago, I am a parent of 2 children who are actually learning at home now. So I am so interested in this topic and hearing what Lisa has to say, because staying calm has been quite a challenge for me. Let's just say over this last week and a half, it has been just a very anxious time for everybody in our house, and we have not always reacted well with each other. And so I'm so grateful that Lisa is here to talk to us about how maybe we could approach it a little bit differently. So Lisa, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Ruman, and I am the founder of the Child and Family Counseling Center of Westlake. Sarah and I have been doing these coffee and chats for how long? Oh, and by the way, get your coffee, your water, your whatever it is you're wanting to take in while we do this. We've been doing these coffee and chats for how many years now?
Oh, it's got to be at least 6 or 7.
Many years, and I think us doing this tonight is so exciting. I'm so excited to be a part of this. I'm in my office, and I think it's so cool the way Carla and had this set up and is streaming, and Nicole and Sarah and I, and so I'm really excited to do this with everyone. So thanks.
Okay, and Nicole.
And when we go, can I just say something else? When we go back to our in-person coffee and chats, we want as many people as we can possibly get to join us for those as well. And maybe we'll do more of these Facebook Live ones too.
Yeah.
We'll mix it up more.
Right.
Hi, I'm Nicole Borncrow. Somebody said that they were struggling to hear audio, so please let us know if anything is malfunctioning. So I'm one of the family resource specialists here. I also have been a part of Connecting for Kids for a while. I came to Sarah with my first kiddo, and she helped me through things, and now I have 3. One who struggles, the other 2 which are currently struggling just because we're at home together all the time with one another. So yes, I feel everyone's pain right now, homeschooling 3 very different children. So a little bit about tonight, Sarah, you want me to go into that now?
Yep.
Okay, so tonight, my role, so Sarah's going to be the facilitator along with Lisa as the expert, obviously. I'll kind of be the facilitator, so you can feel free to comment at any time. We want you to feel free to interact. If you felt introverted at previous programs with us, this is your time to shine. So you can either comment on the thread, or you can text me if you want to keep things anonymous. So you can text me at 440-570-5908, and I'll read your comment anonymously at any point. So just know that there is a 20-second delay, so we're not ignoring you. Things just work a little bit differently between when we read your comments and when we actually can interact with you. And if at any point there is a comment or a question that you have that doesn't relate to tonight's program, you can ask, but we're not going to answer it tonight. We may follow up with you tomorrow, but don't feel afraid to ask it. We want to know if there's something you need. Feel free to just reach out to me directly if you want. I think that is all of my stuff. So I'll pass it back over to Sarah, and she'll tell us what our program is going to look like.
All right. So we saw that Joellen Podell wanted to comment on Nicole's beautiful background. She is channeling the zen of the beach. And I wanted to point that out because we are going to start offering virtual classes. For example, this Friday at 10:30, we're going to have a music therapy and more program for families. And you can connect on with just a smartphone from your home. And if you don't want people to see your house, you can always choose a virtual background, and we can sort of show you how to do that so that you can keep that privacy level if you want to interact. with us, or you can just let people see this is, this is my house. This is
That's the
where
way it is.
this is the way it is, chaos and craziness. And you can see a pile of stuff I probably should have cleaned up before it was on Facebook Live, but that's just how it works, right?
I want to say something about her background.
Okay.
So so we're talking about like calming and stress reducing and stress relieving. There's some research evidence out there so we might not be able to go to the beach, right?
Right.
But even just looking at calming pictures, calming videos can also decrease levels of stress and anxiety. So that's just, and throughout this, we're going to just throw out tips and tools, right? Just, as we're going, we can just throw out some ideas. So just looking at you right now calms me.
Yeah. And so this is the picture that I put right next to my computer. Everybody can see it.
Uh-huh.
And it does, it calms me. I have struggled with anxiety my entire life. And one of the things I was telling somebody who's never had like an anxiety disorder or really struggled with anxiety is I said, I feel like I am prepared to be able to handle this anxious time. Just because I do have a whole bunch of coping tools that I've been using personally to help me with my anxiety. And so I mentioned that having something where like a giant picture of that forest scene for me reminds me to take a deep breath when I'm at my computer. So thank you, Lisa. I think that is really small things you can do. Put a picture of your kids, next to the TV. So if you're watching something on TV, that it's something that you can do to help calm yourself.
Thanks for giving that to us, Nicole.
What? You're
Thanks
welcome.
for giving that background to us.
Duck out and you can just any point. Stephanie, I see that you asked when music therapy is. I will message you with, I think right now we have one on Friday and then we're planning more, right, Sarah?
Yeah, so we've got a whole schedule that will be coming out. There is one Friday at 10:30, but this Sunday we're going to come out with a newsletter blast. So if you're not on our newsletter, you can join us at connectingforkids.org and click /join us. And what you'll do is you'll see we've got a whole list of virtual programs that we'll be offering in April, including some support groups that will be all just Zoom. We're going to have virtual music therapy and more. We're going to have a talk with Tammy Sebastian from the Ohio Coalition. So she'll be talking about special education. So we've got a nice suite of programs to be able to still connect you guys and support you during probably one of the most stressful times we've had in a really, really long time, right? All right, so let's talk about this program. So, the way we normally run Coffee and Chats, like Lisa said, we've been doing this for years, is the normal format is we have an article that everybody reads. And so you can see in the comment section or in the event here that there's an article that we posted. It's one that we've done before. It's called Remaining Calm in the Face of Chaos. And it's written from the perspective of a parent of a child with ADHD, but it's really applicable to any parent. You could put in any diagnosis. You could just put in, I'm a parent. And what the parent is talking about is how hard it is to for her to remain calm when the child is out of control. So normally if we were doing this in a library, we would give everybody a couple moments to read it. But we thought we would look kind of silly if we were all just sitting here waiting. So feel free. Like I said, we're trying, this is brand new to all of us. We're hoping you guys will all be very kind to us as we try to figure out this format. But what we thought we would do instead is have Lisa to begin. So go ahead and read it if you haven't, but then also we're going to be asking Lisa to talk about how to manage emotions in such an uncertain time. Cindy Scott just posted that she sent this article to a friend about how parents of special needs kids are better equipped to be able to handle So it was thank you, Cindy. That's really great. We saw that in our Facebook group. I know one of the moms posted that, and she was saying that special needs parents in particular are used to being isolated, are used to uncertainty, and that this is just part of our world. But that doesn't mean that it's not sort of also really up here as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think right now there's so much uncertainty and fear and anxiety for so many of us. And I'm, Sarah, I'm with you. I've dealt with anxiety in the past, have learned coping skills and tools to manage, but I myself, and I think I have it usually pretty well under control, I can feel my heightened level of anxiety on so many levels, when we look at the financial impact of this, when we look at the health crisis of this, when we look at our loved ones, and especially having loved ones who, are in those high risk groups. And, we're talking, I still am seeing people in person using all the precautions as well as video sessions. We're doing telehealth sessions here at Child and Family Counseling Center. So a lot of that anxiety can be pretty contagious. Anxiety can be contagious. Yeah. A lot of emotions can be contagious. When somebody's angry, frustrated, ramping up, there are people who will ramp up with, and then there are people who will be able to bring it down, bring the emotion down, who don't get enmeshed or caught in the emotion. But right now, I think anxiety is a very, very contagious emotion for us all. And so when there's a lot of uncertainty, and think about this, there's uncertainty for you as parents, there's uncertainty for the kids, there's uncertainty for all the teachers. I've been seeing a lot of teachers lately too in session. And a lot of teachers are feeling very, very anxious about, getting different messages. One day they're supposed to do this, the next day something else. How am I going to teach my kids? How am I going to stay connected with the kids? So there's so much uncertainty all over the place. And so and I think we are wired to need certainty. When we know exactly what's going to happen, what to expect, we feel calm, in control, and things are good. And as we all know, as adults and the older we get, there's so much uncertainty in life, period. And so one of the greatest things I think we can do for ourselves and for our loved ones and family members is focus on what you can control, okay? Focus on the certainty, focus on what you know, focus on what you are able to do rather than focusing on what you can't control, okay? Because that's never going to work.
Right.
Because if you can't control something, the more you focus on it, you're still not going to be able to control it, So again, focusing on what you can control. I also just want to throw out a few things here. As I've been talking with people, and again, I've been, I saw someone today feeling a lot of panic and anxiety around what's happening.
Right.
And so just the basics, limit how much you're taking in about all this. I think people are getting overwhelmed and overloaded with all this. So really start to limit that more and more. I had one client who, and I'll throw out ideas of what people are sharing with me too, as well as some of my ideas. I have one client who's, she could feel her anxiety really going up around all the coronavirus stuff. She said, I've limited myself to one half hour of local news, 1/2 hour of national news. When you're talking with loved ones and friends and family members, do coronavirus-free discussions. Okay,
yeah.
So in this discussion today, in our conversation today, let's not have any talk about it.
Yeah, we take a daily walk with all
Yeah.
4 of us, and nobody's allowed to talk about coronavirus.
Yeah.
And it's been really helpful.
Yeah, and go back to your basics. Go back to eating healthy food, getting enough sleep, being with positive, healthy people, through these kinds of, mediums. So just going back to the basics of stress and anxiety management.
Which is
okay.
so hard.
Ho-hos right now. Like, it is okay.
But I had someone tell me today, which I was shocked. They said they're eating healthier now being at home than out in the workplace. So I'm like, wow, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, you know what I did though? So I joined Weight Watchers, not to promote one service over another, but what I love is that right now they're doing virtual meetings like this. And it is a really good way for us to sort of say, all right, so you might have a day where you emotionally eat. But how did that make you feel the next day? Did it help you? Right. And it's been really helpful for me to sort of keep that focus of there are still frozen vegetables. There are still fresh fruits and vegetables at the stores that, that little bit of effort can actually fuel you. And trust me, it's not easy. Like it is Easter candy season.
Oh, right.
Like,
and Girl Scout cookie season.
and Girl Scout, and who can't help those poor Girl Scouts who aren't being able to sell at their cookie booths? Like I feel like it's our duty.
Had to do.
That's great.
But those are all really great things.
And also one more, so things are coming to me. I apologize if I'm,
No, yeah.
talking off the, off the cuff here, but I was reading a really great article too that talked about reframing our thoughts and our ideas about things. And so, like, for example, a thought might be, oh my God, I'm trapped in my house. Okay. So a reframe of that could be, I'm so glad that I have my home to be in to protect me and keep me safe. Another panic thought might come up that, what if I run out of supplies or run out of food? And then reframing that with, grocery stores and essential needs can be met and are available to us. So again, it's, reframing the thoughts is another, biggie that we can all practice and work with and, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that reframing one is so specifically for me, that's where a lot of my anxiety goes is what happens if I don't have enough food for my kids. And so I have a little mantra that I've been saying where it's, I have enough food for today. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll look at it tomorrow. I don't need to go to the store today because we have enough milk and eggs and bananas.
Yeah.
And just kind of taking it with that one day at a time. And just not letting myself think about what happens if, right?
Because that's the anxiety thing. I'm aware of, you can look at what if. So a lot of that is that catastrophizing thinking, that, just a lot of panic worry thinking. What if can also be let's pretend. Have you heard that one?
No.
So, we'll go out into this, okay, well, what if I run out of food, and what if somebody, all this what if. But when you're really looking at that from an anxiety standpoint, it's really a let's pretend this bad thing is going to happen.
Yeah. And it's not useful is what you're saying, right?
Right, right. Because we're telling ourselves these really, really scary, catastrophic, horrible things that may or may not happen or may or may not even possible.
Right.
Okay.
And I think it's so hard, especially now, at least for me, like I said, I've been struggling with this my whole life because there is a plan where you do need to plan a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Plan, right. So I do need to probably buy some toilet paper next time I see some available, right? I do need, and so what's that level of thoughtful preparation versus like planning for the catastrophe?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a really great point. So we can say, okay, what if I run out of toilet paper, or what if I run out of food? I don't know, what would be, let's turn that into what's the problem, and then let's go into solutions about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for example, I had someone that I was talking to today, and, she's in a lot of fear, and, understandably so. There's a lot of fear about they're in the process of selling a house, et cetera, et cetera. And so there's a lot of fear of what if this falls through, and then so what we looked at that is, okay, let's look at that as a problem. What are all the solutions you guys are doing to handle that? So then it becomes solution oriented versus just focused on the fear. And again, that'll make us feel some control, right? When we go into solutions and we can problem solve, that gives us more power in our lives.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Nicole, did you see somebody commented?
I did. I may save. Do we want to go into the discussion and then talk about some of the instances that people are commenting about? Or do we want to just read them as they come in?
Let's hear them as they come in.
Sure, let's do it. So Bonnie had commented, that she was really frustrated with her son who does not want to do schoolwork. I feel you, Bonnie. Who has anxiety around not being able to see his favorite people, which it makes such sense. So it took a while, but she finally just played with him some and his favorite stuffed animal, and it turned into something special. And I think that was more important than my expectations. I also find it helpful to stop and give a hug when I feel frustration. That disperses negative emotion quickly. Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome idea.
I like that.
And Bonnie, I think that is so hard. You know, I feel like what I'm hearing from so many parents is they feel like if they are enforcing the homework or the task, that their children are going to fall behind or get bad grades, and that they're not being a good enough teacher, right? And I think that fear of I'm not doing this well enough leads to a lot of the parents just getting very, very like, and then fighting with the kids rather than giving up and saying, okay, you can't do this right now, so let's go play. I mean, Lisa, do you have anything about that?
No, I think that idea is great, because I also wonder how much parents' anxieties are coming up because they're not sure how to do this and what to do. So then again, when our anxiety comes up, we want to go into control, right? We want to make everything feel okay. So we try to control things. Some of my thoughts, again, depending upon the age of the kids, but again, you can even start to, ask for their input and their ideas and make it like a collaborative kind of a thing. Okay, so we need to get this assignment done. Give me your ideas on, should we do it here or should we do it there? When we give choices, and again, choices that parents can live with, when we give kids choices, what do they feel? They feel more in control, right? Which is, again, what we want kids to feel too. We want them to feel in control. Because again, everyone is feeling this uncertainty, this unsettled. It's new for everyone. This is new territory. So I think managing, like Bonnie said, which I think is great, awareness, my expectations. She had expectations that she was able to step back from and say, okay, let's rethink this, because this is new for all of us. And maybe my expectation wasn't realistic for her son. Was it? Yeah. Maybe this expectation was not realistic for my son. So I need to be a little more flexible and rethink this, how we do this.
Yeah.
So again, I guess my thoughts are collaborate, ask them their thoughts and ideas, because kids have some great ideas, by the way, on how they think they should do some of this. Because I've been even asking some, well, what do you think? They have great ideas.
Yeah. We have another comment from Stephanie. Having a child who thrives on routine, which involves his favorite stores every Monday and Wednesday, and he knows which therapist he sees better than I do. So he's angry and confused, and I don't know how to explain that to him, and I feel terrible. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, I think that is, Stephanie, I'm hearing that over and over, and especially for children who struggle either with a cognitive delay or with a disability where routine is very, very important to them, that even when parents are saying the words, it's almost like they're getting stuck and skimming on the fact that they still want it. Like they might understand it intellectually, but what they're communicating back out to you is, but it's Wednesday and I am supposed to be going to Nana's house. And I just don't understand why, like, they can kind of understand here, but they just can't move on to accept that that's not going to happen.
I hear you on that. And I would also say it's okay for him to be angry. He's allowed to feel angry. That's okay. As long as, how is he, I guess I would be curious as what's he doing with his anger? If it's frustration, if he's expressing it, that's a great thing, right? We want kids to express how they're feeling. We want to validate how they're feeling. Also, I just wonder if when people are commenting and they're talking about their kids, could they give us an idea of the age of their kids? That might be a little helpful too. Like my 9, that can help with some of these ideas and problem solving maybe. You know, I guess I would just really work to explain to him at his level the best that, you know, you can explain it, and it's not going to be perfect, and it is confusing, and there's a lot of frustration for everyone, you know.
And I heard a great mom sort of tell me a story today where she said that, you know, a 5-year-old just kept asking over and over and over. And so it wasn't that she was expressing anger or anything. It was just the mom finally was just exhausted.
Yeah.
From answering the same question all day, right? And I think there's that as well, right?
Yeah. And I would work to put some boundaries around the constant questioning. You know, because that could keep people spinning too, right? So maybe say, okay, we've already talked about this, I've already answered this, you know, in whatever way is comfortable for you, saying, you know, I'm not going to answer this again because we've already talked about it. Again, whatever way feels comfortable for you to say to them. Because again, that can just start to get into that sort of obsessive compulsive kind of loop. The other thing, Stephanie, I wonder about with your child, your 11-year-old son, would it be helpful for him, so he goes and sees his therapist the same, I think you said the same time every week, you know, would it be helpful for him to maybe draw a picture for this therapist or write something for the therapist so that within him there still is a level of connection with her, you know? And I don't know if the therapist is doing any remote telehealth sessions, you know, that would be something else I would check with him or her to see, are they doing any of that remote, and how would that be for him, you know? So maybe just sort of coming up with some ideas where he can, because I wonder for him, is it about his frustration or the missing and the longing of the connection with her, you know, that he's really, really reacting to? Because obviously this person's really special to him. So again, keeping that connection going in some way, you know, again, letter writing, drawing pictures, doing something, you know, that would keep the connection.
Yeah. And then, you know, the focus of this presentation was actually more on the parents, less on the solutions for the kids.
Okay.
So what I'd love for the people following along to kind of take a moment and reflect back on that. I think so many times we as parents focus on, okay, what can I do to make the kid not react this way? What can I make them so that they're not angry or they're not upset or asking me about this? But really, I think it always starts with you and how you're responding to that. You know, and so, you know, one of the first questions we were going to ask was, you know, when do you feel in control, even though it's a chaotic situation, right? So, you know, when are the kids going nuts a million times and you're able to be like, all right, I think I'm going to give you some choices. Right. You just start yelling and say, everybody stop screaming, right? You know, and I think what's helpful for me is I was thinking about this as we were preparing, and I know that I can handle anything in the morning. You know, oh, I know. Look at Nicole. She's like, what? Yeah, because you're not a morning person like I am. I am a morning person.
I'm with you on that too, Sarah.
Yeah, I mean, like, go ahead, hit me with any bad news you have like a major, you know, yell at each other, punch each other in the face, like whatever you're going to do, have it happen before 10 a.m. And I am super mom. But if it happens after 7:30 at night, oh, you don't even want to live in this house. Like, it's just a demon woman shows up, right? And so that whole how tired I am makes such a difference on how my ability to react.
So do we want people to comment now on when they feel most in control of their emotions and most in control of themselves? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So, because I think that helps you then to really recognize what might be missing from those moments that you were out of control.
I'm trying to think throughout my day. I feel like I never feel in control right now.
Sorry, keeping it real, Nicole.
Always expletives. I mean, if no one wants to comment, I will just take Lisa and we'll have some one-on-one therapy right now. But
You can't think of when you feel most in control?
No, I mean, I'm always like a basket case right now.
Okay.
And I think a lot of it has to do with when, kind of like what I think Bonnie and Stephanie were hitting on, it's when I have expectations. I think I lose it when I have spent my child-free evenings planning my homeschool for the next day, only to have them flip chairs over. And then I'm just like, okay, I can't believe this is my life right now. So I think the expectations are what is killing me right now. That's just me. Michelle Liu says the only time she feels in control is when her kids are in bed.
Hey, Michelle.
That's awesome.
Cindy said she feels best when she's focusing on one thing, not trying to help kids while also working on something else, which that is a great point. Like one thing at a time, which is impossible for most people right now.
Yeah, and especially, when you're working at the same time, right? Like it is really hard if you're trying to juggle while you're helping with math homework. Like it's one or the other, right? And I don't think every employer who's out there is being very kind and considerate about how hard it is.
No, not everybody is Sarah Rintamaki. She's a great boss, that one.
That's right.
Deanna says, when I take a minute to breathe and think about what's presented to me, which breathing is a big.
Yeah. Yes. Breathing great, Dee.
Right now. And Joellen says, I feel most in control after a successful moment. Today we strung plastic Easter eggs and the kids went outside and hung them up and it actually went well. And then I felt good after. Yeah.
When you don't have those little nuggets at all during a day and you end up feeling like a total failure.
Yeah.
And I think I'm such a perfectionist, and I want to do everything. I want the best for my kids. Right. And so are you okay, Lisa? Like, I feel like every time someone's lost now, we're all like, are you okay?
No, I have a little bit of an allergy kind of thing going on too, by the way. So
let's Zoom. You can
allergy stuff. Yeah.
And so, it's that perfectionism. And, I think our fear is that we want the best for our kids. So if they don't do that reading assignment or they don't learn those spelling words, what's going to happen? What's going to happen if they end up getting a C in this high school class? Because I couldn't explain to them what array was. And I didn't remember exponential fractions right? I mean, like, I just think there's all of this anxiety that parents have where they want to be able to help them. But, most of us weren't taught how to be teachers. And it's hard for kids to accept us as their teachers. I think that's a really hard part.
Yeah. And Cindy also reiterated, I'm working. My husband is working. It is too much. So I think the juggling, I think the common theme here is just the massive amount of expectations that we're on ourselves is what's pushing us all to not feel in control.
Right.
And Sarah, I love your idea when you say, that expectation of perfectionism, right? That is so stress inducing and anxiety provoking for anyone, because with what's happening today and just in general in life, right? We're not going to be able to be perfect. It's an unrealistic expectation of ourselves. And so we're setting ourselves up, when we have that kind of thinking, that perfectionism thinking, we're setting ourselves up all the time to never be able to achieve what it is we expect of ourselves. So then we're gonna induce and feel that disappointment or that not good enough feeling quite often, right? Because we've set an unrealistic expectation for ourselves. And so then translate that and transfer that with the kids, if I have that way of thinking of perfectionism, how much of that am I projecting onto my kids, which is even more stress and anxiety for them, right?
Yeah.
We have an expectation of perfectionism for ourselves. Don't kid yourself. We expect that of other people outside of ourselves too, out in the world, our family members, our loved ones, kids, husbands, wives, so it's really about managing expectations and making them realistic expectations.
Yeah. And I think especially that rings true for if you have like a gifted kiddo or a twice exceptional kiddo, and they're already prone to feeling that perfectionism, and then they're absorbing our anxiety. Like I had my little gifted kiddo to me today say, "Mommy, nobody's perfect ever." And like I was like, "Oh God, what am I doing to you?"
Now I'm really, really feeling. Not only did you flip over the chair, but now I've just laid an emotional burden on you, right?
Yep. Yep.
I think you have a natural therapist you're developing.
Who, and Penny? Yes, probably.
Well, I mean, that statement was so awesome.
Right?
It was
What a
a
very calming statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's become, I think having a special needs sibling makes kiddos very empathetic and in tune with
Yes.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yes.
what is the most challenging time for our families watching at home? When is it hard for them to stay in control? We talked about expectations. But what are the triggers that make it
Yeah. This is a good one. So what triggers that feeling really emotionally dysregulated or not in control, or not in control emotionally?
Yeah. For me, I know it's when my kids say or do mean things to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I can't handle that at all.
Mm-hmm.
It just stirs up all kinds of, right? But that's if you want me to go from 0 to 3,000 in 2 seconds, put a bruise on your brother, and they know that too, which is also the worst part, right? So sometimes I think it's also about what can I do to get an emotional reaction in this moment? Oh, I know what I can do.
Beat up on my brother.
Mm-hmm.
So probably for me is when, again, I think it goes back to expectations. And this could be with a lot of things. If I have an expectation of how I want my day to go, if I have an expectation with how something should go and it's not, or there's something thrown in to throw off my plan that I've created, I can get really frustrated.
Yeah.
Really frustrated.
Let's see. Cindy says the evening when parents have nothing left to give kids, and when nothing left to give them, the kids are a mess too. Yeah. And that's kind of what you were saying, Sarah, like by 7 o'clock, it's done.
Oh, the bucket is empty, So we talk a lot about how, you've got this bucket of reservoirs, right? And then when there's nothing left in my bucket, I've got nothing to pull from.
Yeah. Renee.
These comments are great, aren't they?
Yeah. Let's see. So yeah, evening after work, right when I have them all in the car after work. Yeah. So again, that empty bucket.
Yeah, and everybody's hungry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And everybody's tired.
Yes.
And they all want your attention.
So we know that those can be common triggers, right? Of feeling dysregulated, tired, hungry, what else? Thirsty. All right. Any of those basic needs, when those aren't met, that's when a lot of emotional dysregulation can occur.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't know if this is,
sleep is a big one.
Sleep
is a huge one.
Yeah.
We've been trying to go to bed early. I mean, I hate to say this, but we're sort of putting, like, you would think that our response would be that we could have the kids staying up late and having us stay up late. But I've actually found that it's better for us to head up early now.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate to say it, by 9:30, we have everybody's phone shut off and down. And it's just, the new norm where we have earlier bedtimes than when we had to actually get up.
And I think those kind of, like, keeping your consistent sleep schedule is a really good thing for everyone, right? I mean, again, consistency, structure as best you can also help to alleviate stress and anxiety.
Joellen said, right now, doing IEP work has been super hard. My 7-year-old daughter has a lot of anxiety surrounding school, especially the intervention room. So she is really struggling when it comes to IEP work. Yeah.
And that's really hard. I feel like I hear that a lot from the parents we've been talking to, that because they're feeling like, especially a child who needs therapy on top of, the regular curriculum.
Yeah.
They're feeling like now they're being told that not only am I the teacher, I'm also the speech therapist. I also need to be working on fine motor control. I need to be giving them sensory input. I need to be working on physical therapy. And so their burden is just really big right now, where they're saying, my child doesn't like to do fine motor control, and yet I've been given all these activities that they have to do with that. And if it was easy for them to hold the pencil or climb up the stairs, they would be doing it naturally, right? So, and now I'm the one that's pushing them to do this. And yet the fear in their voice that if I miss this window of opportunity and don't keep giving them the interventions, that we're going to miss something, or the child's going to be not able to get to their highest potential because we've missed this time.
Yeah.
A lot of fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Deanna says, yes, the expectations hitting the door after a long day of work often triggers me. Let's see. Stephanie, when someone in every room needs me and it is all equally important and my phone is ringing and I have to pee at the same time, how to prioritize without making anyone feel less important than another. I feel you, girl.
Lisa,
Peeing is always going to be first. Peeing always has to come first.
Thank you, Lisa, for saying that. No, tell me. I think about that all the time, Lisa. Explain on that.
What?
No, I use that in my head all the time. You know why? Because I'm the kind of a person where, of course, the peeing will not happen first.
Right. I know that too.
Right. And the minute I started flipping around and saying, yeah, you know what, they can all wait because I do need to use the restroom, like, just helps me to center and put myself in control to deal with the chaos.
Well, and to also focus on your needs are important too. Your needs are, and that, like, peeing is a basic need, right? I mean, it's a basic bodily function and basic bodily need. And so it all, like you said, it sends the message to yourself, my needs are important also. Other needs are important too. And I think it's important for kids to see their parents taking care of themselves, meeting their needs. I think that's really important modeling for kids. So I think peeing always needs to come first.
Yeah. I feel like we need to have shirts that are catching for kids. Peeing comes first. Right? Like, when you say, like, coronavirus 19, like, that is going to be our COVID-19, you know what this is. But I feel like that is something I learned from you, Lisa, that has been transformative to me.
Because I used to do that too. I would have session after session and I had to pee on my first session. I ended up peeing probably like on session number 5. And then I thought, wait a minute, this is so unhealthy for me psychologically and physically right now. Like, whatever is happening is going to wait. It's going to wait.
I do. I feel like it's life lessons, and speaking of that, I feel like it moves on to, are there more comments, Nicole, or?
There's one about kids challenging and pushing back. So Kev said his most challenging time is when it's hard to feel in control, is when his 12-year-old refuses to accept direction or discipline, like go to your room, no. So basically a power struggle is his trigger, which, you're not alone in that for sure.
And so in power struggles, like with something like that, you're not going to be able to control probably your 12-year-old because he's 12, right? So it's going to be really hard to control your 12-year-old. You're not going to want to like pick him up and, do all that kind of stuff. So in that moment, what I would suggest is focus on how you're feeling as your kid is challenging you. There's probably a lot of anger coming up, a lot of frustration, might even be rage for some people, and focus on what you can do to control your emotions in that moment. And it might be, I gotta take a step away right now. I need to just go take a breath. I need to go outside and go for a walk. And then when I'm under control and I'm calm, because we do our best work when we're calm, right? Easier said than done though. And then go back in. And sometimes maybe it's just a simple timeout for everyone. You know,
Yeah.
thinking about what is going on for him. That's another thing that I would invite people to look at too with kids when they're really challenging. So this is another way for you to handle when things are in chaos. Go into that place of empathy. I wonder what my child or my spouse or my friend or my whatever is feeling right now. So you're going to go into that empathy piece. What's happening for them right now that they're reacting in this way?
Yeah. In fact, we just did a 2-part series on that, Lisa. That would be a great one for Nicole to follow up and give the link to the person who posted this, because that's exactly what she did. It was called Challenging Behaviors. And so the very first thing is that you sort of, like, let's say you say to the child, I want you to go to your room right now. And they're like, no. And especially for like an older child that can really understand this, that you say, wow, so you're not going to go to your room right now. And sounds like you're having a really hard time with that. Like that's not a good solution for you. And you know, and sort of helping them to process why are you struggling with your ability to follow that direction? You know.
Yes. So to clarify, you're talking about Katie Greenleaf's presentation. Yes. So Carla is going to post that in the comments. And I agree. I have been raw screening the heck out of my children. Not that I want people to take on this as a burden also, but I think the lessons of cutting yourself more slack and really walking away to de-escalate when all of our emotions are so high right now, like this is not the time to be highly disciplined. I think it's the time to be highly routined, but not highly disciplined. So like, if my kid isn't listening to me, like I'm not picking a battle because I'm going to freak out. She's going to freak out. Yeah, de-escalation right now.
And just remember, like with power struggles, it takes two to be in the power struggle.
Yes.
You know, the goal when we're in a power, and we all get into power struggles, right? We get into all over the place, we get into them. Be the one to de-escalate the power struggle, right? Be the one. That doesn't mean, you know, because then some people, what comes up for them is, I'm not going to let them win. I'm not going to lose. You know, those old, like some of it's subconscious, those beliefs and those ideas start to come up, which make us dig in more and get stronger and deeper into the power struggle. Remember, what can I control? What can't I control? We can always control our emotions, our reactions, and our behavior. So de-escalate versus escalate.
Yep. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, and then, you know, and not to project, like, what I'll hear parents say is, but if he doesn't listen to me, you know, he's never going to, right? Or he's going to walk into a high school with, you know, a gun and hurt other people. I'm like, hey, hold on. Like, they're having an outburst during a global pandemic. Like,
yeah.
Pretty appropriate.
Yeah, and so you can take a step back, and it's not going to be lifelong. But you can de-escalate it for now and then come up with some other solutions. That this is now is not forever.
And again, Sarah, with that example, you know, that's really catastrophizing, right? That's really going into the future. And that I would really challenge someone to reframe that. Does my child have a pattern of this behavior where there's evidence that, you know, this behavior could lead to something that, I mean, that's a severe place that someone's mind went to, something that could just be a simple frustration and power struggle right here and right now.
Oh, that's great. That's great, Lisa, because it is like, and I think it's that, you know, when somebody's anxiety has gone up, they're going to the catastrophe because really they're upset about the coronavirus.
Yeah.
And kind of reminding themselves that that's just the way anxiety makes you think.
It can make us go to the worst. It will make us go to the worst case scenarios. I mean, that's what generalized anxiety is all about, right?
Right.
Those worst case scenarios that more than likely will never happen.
Right.
You know, so really getting boundaries and management around all those kinds of thoughts. Like, we really got to work with our thoughts. Thoughts lead to how we feel. Okay. So if I'm having a lot of these highly catastrophizing, anxiety provoking thoughts, I'm going to feel in a state of panic. So the work is to really start to look at your thoughts. There's even some techniques of you write down your thoughts. Okay, is like the anxious thoughts. Is there evidence that supports this thought? So really, really going into challenging these thoughts. But, some refer to them as there's this one really great Dr. Daniel Amen, psychiatrist, and he talks about ANTS. It's an acronym for automatic negative thoughts. And one of his techniques that he really recommends is write the thought down, challenge the thought. What's the evidence that supports this thought? What invalidates this thought? Okay. So really starting to get control and boundaries around this kind of thinking will do wonders for people. Reframe it. Use mantras. I think mantras are a great thing. I am in control of myself in this moment. Your son is refusing to do what you're asking him to do, and maybe he's been or she's been oppositional all day long. What can you control? Repeat a mantra. I'm in control of myself right now. I can control my behavior and my emotions. So again, that will give your mind something else to focus on too, by the way. Anxiety causes us to be in our heads and our thoughts all the time. Give your mind something positive and healthy to perseverate on and focus on, So that's another technique.
Wonderful. In fact, that leads us right into our last topic for tonight, which is coping strategies.
Yeah.
So you were going to review just a few other coping strategies?
Yeah. So we don't need to go over the ones that are here, right?
Right. Not the ones in the article, but
people have those.
Mm-hmm.
So I also pulled up a couple. This is from Dr. Daniel Amen. I like some of his work too. And another coping strategy is a daily practice of meditation and prayer. You can start to do that. You could set it up, start the routine or the habit or the practice in the morning. That's a great way to start your day, is in this calm state of meditation. You can use and Google and look up different types of meditation. There are all kinds of great apps. Calm is one. What are some others that people might? Headspace that can give you different ideas on meditation and on ways to meditate. There's so many different types of meditation. So for people who have a lot of anxiety, I like it's called mantra meditation. Okay, where you choose a mantra and you just sit quietly, and meditation is not this, it's just a very simple thing you can do. You can sit anywhere comfortable, repeat the mantra to yourself in your mind silently over and over and over. Start out with 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and then slowly work your way up to longer periods of time. First of all, you want to create the habit. That's one of the most important things. And then just keep practicing it. And all kinds of thoughts are going to come in your mind, because I think what is it? We have like 75,000 to 80,000 thoughts a day. I think people who have anxiety have a lot more than that, many more than that. So just start the practice of, when thoughts come in, just bring your focus and your attention back to your mantra. And so you just keep doing that back and forth. And the more you do it, again, it's a practice, the easier it becomes, the more aware you become of the thoughts. And I'm not going to get caught in the thoughts. Meditation helps us to not get so attached to the thoughts.
Okay.
Does that make sense? We have a thought and then we keep going on and on and on with the thought. Meditation helps us to let go of the thoughts, okay, and just recognizing this is just a thought right now. Mm-hmm. So going back to the mantra. So it's a practice. It's a self-control kind of practice, right? Yeah. There's also, research that research shows that meditation and prayer can calm stress and anxiety. Another, practice your deep diaphragmatic breathing. So just doing some, you could do 10. Somebody once suggested to me, one of my teachers once suggested to me, on your phone, set, at the top of the hour, a chime that reminds you to take 10 nice deep breaths. You could, before each time you have a meal, Take 10 nice deep breaths. I don't know, what are some other?
Oh, I like that. In fact, I should do that with our kids.
Yeah, so just starting to practice your breathing more and more, and the lower in the body the breath is, the calmer it will help us to be. So when we're in anxiety breathing, that's oftentimes high and up in the chest, okay? And people can even go into hyperventilation. When somebody's in a panic attack, they can go into hyperventilation breathing, okay? So the lower in the body, meaning you hear people refer to it as belly breathing or diaphragmatic breathing. When you breathe lower in the belly, it's going to help to calm your nervous system. Breathe lower in the body. So just practicing your diaphragmatic breathing. There's also there's a suggestion of anti-anxiety foods. He recommends eat anti-anxiety foods that can focus and promote calm and relaxation. GABA-rich foods.
Are those Easter candies? Like
yeah. Well, and then one of his recommendations is limit caffeine, alcohol, and this is just for you, Sarah, sugar.
I know.
That is literally my diet right now. I go right from coffee to sugar to booze right now.
My husband's HR manager just sent an email out to everybody on his staff with that exact same thing. I know nobody wants to hear this, but this is your daily tip for the day. Try to
Who said that?
My husband's HR manager. She's been sending out daily, like, how to help take care of yourself during this time. And so she said, try to limit caffeine, sugar, and alcohol.
Oh, that's funny.
So,
I mean, you guys can choose that one or not, right?
Okay.
That might be a big no.
I think I'm going to start with the deep breathing.
Let me start with meditation before I kick out the booze.
I will do 5 hours of meditation each day.
I love this idea. This was a great one. Create an anxiety rescue playlist. I thought that was awesome. Music can soothe you when you're stressed or under a lot of pressure. Create a playlist that is calming to you. I love that one.
Yeah, I like that one too.
And conversely, if you want to feel more energized and you want to feel, like I work with a lot of kids who might have said like, I'm feeling low energy or not motivated. If you get up and get moving and listen to upbeat music or go out and run or walk or do something physical, that's going to give you energy too, right? But I like the one about a playlist. So let me see if there's anything else interesting here. Learn to challenge automatic negative thoughts that pop into your head and make you feel anxious, nervous, or stressed. Every time you have an anxious thought, write it down and ask yourself if it is true.
Well, and that's part of what you were sort of saying is think through it, right?
Challenge it.
So I wonder if any of the parents that are watching right now have a coping strategy they want to share.
Yeah, that they're go-to ones that work well for them. I think that's a great idea to share.
I think Sarah and I have touched on our coping strategies.
Easter egg candy.
You and I have been doing a lot of yoga.
Yeah, I was going to say, so
Good.
Yeah, so there is a free yoga with Adrienne. It's on YouTube. And so Nicole and I have been doing free yoga every day. And
nice.
I've been taking walks with my kids. So just a 20-minute walk.
Yeah.
Just to get outside.
So for me, nature and walking is a good one. I feel, I can feel a lot of peace when I'm out in nature, especially by the water. We have this beautiful, wonderful lake here that, I think when I'm at the lake and in that space, that brings a lot of calm for me. That's one.
And I think a good
cooking is another one too. I love to cook.
Nicole and I have the same one. So Michelle Liu and I both drink coffee, drink wine, and eat cookies apparently to soothe our anxiety.
Does it work? Does it work, Nicole?
No. Cindy says she uses the mom time out. I like it. That's important.
How does she do her mom time out?
I don't know. Cindy, tell us how you do it.
Yeah, tell us how you do it.
While she's typing that, Stephanie says, I go on angry walks where I don't come home until I'm not angry anymore. One time I walked 5 miles.
Stephanie, I love that.
That's super effective.
I love that.
Joellen says she takes a nice hot shower to help relax her, especially when she cannot get outside.
That's a good one.
I like that. Deanna says 3 times a week she does HIIT classes, which must be some sort of fancy aerobics. I don't know.
Probably high intensity something.
Yeah,
High intensity interval training, I think is what it is. I don't know why I knew that. Never done it. Late walks and binge watching Netflix.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, yeah. No,
Might I suggest there's a tiger, I believe it's called like Tiger King on Netflix right now. I'm not employed by Netflix, but it is hot garbage and it is just what we need right now. So
there's so many great Netflix. There's so many great shows out there.
Yeah.
There's so many going on that we're like, there's not enough time to watch all these shows.
Yeah. So Cindy's timeout is I find somewhere to be away from my kids. During this time, I moved a recliner into my bedroom. That's where I'm hanging out right now with no one.
That's great.
I love that.
Oh, and Deanna just sits in her car, which is a pro move. I like that.
That is.
Oh,
Yeah.
isn't that nice?
Yeah.
And you know what? If all else fails and you have nowhere to go in the bathroom and sit on the toilet and take a couple deep breaths.
Yeah.
My kids one that we talked about.
Come in there, right?
Yeah, right. Pounding on the door. What are you?
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Yep.
All right. So what we'd like you to do, if you're watching, whether you commented or not, is to think about one coping strategy you're going to do differently, right? So if you came to join us tonight, obviously you're here because you were hoping for something to do. So Lisa always says, so I'll let you say it, is that, you need to write it down and say that I'm actually going to try this technique. Right. And
yeah, when we write it down and put it out there, we're like making a commitment to ourselves and to, the universe, right? Make the commitment to yourself for yourself.
And so the one that I'm going to do is the deep breathing. I'm going to do the deep breathing before I eat, right? So whether it's a snack or a meal, or a Easter egg candy, I'm going to take a couple deep breaths, 10 deep breaths from my belly. Right?
You'll fill your belly that way.
Yeah, I'm still going to have Easter candy.
Yeah.
I am going to go back to my meditation practice that I let go of way too long ago because I made the excuse of I was just too busy. How do you like that justification? I'm too busy to meditate. So I'm going to go back to meditation practice in the mornings.
Good for you, Lisa.
So are we inviting people to comment now, just to be clear, to clarify? Okay, so comment.
Wait, what are you doing, Nicole?
Oh, I don't know. I really like the mantras. I think I get stuck in cycles of negative thinking. So I would really love to find a way to rewire my outlook on the day. So having a different mantra for each day. Today, we're going to let go of expectations and have fun. Like just some sort of mantra would be a good one for us.
Oh, I like that.
Let's see. Michelle says, I'm going to try walks, yoga, and movement.
Nice.
Hev says, we'll try mantra, meditation, and yoga. Love it. Cindy says, I'm going to try the deep breathing. I know it works for me when I do it.
Well, yeah, and that's the reminder of when to do it. We eat, right? So I thought that's going to be better than my phone.
Yeah. Renee says, I'm going to look at my thoughts and thinking and try out meditation. I like that.
Nice. Oh, these are all great.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome.
Oh, and one more, Bonnie, I will practice deep breathing on the hour.
Nice.
All right.
Timer.
Yeah, no, I like that timer idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, set your phone.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Drink water, take deep breaths.
So Lisa, the way we always end these are what?
Oh, one word that would describe how you're feeling in this moment. So everybody who's listening, if you could type in one word that would describe how you're feeling in this moment. My word is joyful.
Grateful.
Connected. So we'll just wait for everybody else's words. Let's see what we get. I'm also feeling a little anxious because I can hear my children screaming downstairs, but okay. They'll go to bed eventually.
Is there someone down there with them?
Yes.
Okay. The new puppy's watching them.
Yeah, there's going to be just poop all over if that were the case.
All right.
Michelle says hopeful.
Oh, that's great word, Michelle.
Yeah.
Deanna, also hopeful.
Hopeful.
This is good. This is very good. Dragana says grateful.
Nice.
Teresa, refreshed.
Refreshed.
Love that.
Yeah.
Refreshed at 7:37 at night. Cindy, grateful.
Look at all this grateful. Oh my God, you guys are awesome. Gratitude is wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Kev is hopeful. Joellen feels connected. I think that might be it.
Well, I am so thankful and grateful that Lisa, you joined us, and that Nicole, you joined us, and a big shout out to Carla Fitch, because she was the one who, without her, we would have had to cancel the program because we wouldn't have been able to all do this safely from our homes. So thank you, Carla.
Hey, Carla.
Nicole is going to send out an email survey to everybody who registered, but we really would love some feedback about what went well, what didn't go well. This is our first one. We'd like to continue doing this, especially if we continue in the current stay-at-home stage, maybe even afterwards. So we'd like to know what went well and see what we can do to get better. But
I love this, and thanks to all the viewers, right, who helped to make this our first ever success, our first ever.
Yeah.
This was groundbreaking for us.
I know. You guys were part of our first ever. I'm so amazed that people tuned in and contributed, and thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.